All right, a quick session recap here for Tuesday, January 30th. We are 1 day ahead of FOMC in the last trading day of the month. Essentially coming into today's session, the main call in the pre-market prep live stream was to watch for that inside day development. Essentially what that means is that the duration of today's trading activity is within the prior day's range. So here's the entirety of the prior day's range. We did trigger a near-term 3-day range breakout into yesterday afternoon. Now, generally speaking, anytime you have those outsized moves, those larger than 1 ATR moves, those trend day moves, anything of the sort, probability favors some consolidation. Probability favors what is known as an inside day. And again, just to reiterate, that just means that all of the action from today was within the prior day's range, showing just tight consolidation there. So today's range was about 16 points, if I'm not mistaken. That includes the overnight action, which is less than half of a 1 ATR move. Normal ATR is 43 points. Today's action showing 16.5 points. So as always with the inside day, what we want to see is how price trades versus today's range, and then just go with the direction of the break. So big picture setup, if we zoom way out on the daily chart, continues to favor buyers. This continues to be a bullish tape since, frankly, early November. So what we want to be watching for tomorrow is any potential continuation up through this 49.55 level of interest, and take it from there. Now, if price does break below, you can trade the short. What I'll personally be focused on is the reaction versus any downside levels of interest rather than attempting to short that move. That would be a counter trend move, which yes, it can work, but that's not really my playbook. So I'm going to avoid that play. I'll be looking at the action versus the 49.35 or potentially the 4900, depending on the magnitude of the move. Now, we also have that prior near-term range volume point of control, which should be right through here. There it is, the 49.17. So that can serve as a decent reference point. So the couple of scenarios to consider. The long is quite obvious, right? Up through 49.55. If the inside day breaks to the downside, you have 49.35, the near-term volume point of control to keep an eye on, as well as 4900. Now, keep in mind the big picture context, like I just mentioned, going to the daily chart, favors buyers. November staged that big reversal, right? We have a month-long consolidation through here. And like I mentioned a couple of Fridays ago, anytime you have a long, meaning long in duration consolidation, the breakout from that consolidation is going to have some legs. And that's kind of what we see right now with the, looks like 8 to 9 sessions higher. So something to keep in mind there with ES. If you are considering the bearish trade, you are fighting big picture trend here. So inside day on ES, looking at a break of today's range as the primary play to focus on. On NQ, the setup is quite a bit different. We're looking at continued range trading on NQ. Now, one thing I had mentioned yesterday and into this morning was really what buyers wanted to see on this structure. Just keep in mind it was a series of lower highs. What buyers wanted to see yesterday was a break of Friday's high, which was achieved. And then if that did break, what you're usually going to be targeting is this high up through here, that 17,800 level. Price really failed to show that move up into the 17,800. Sellers reemerged right through here. So right through a known resistance point. This is just, I mean, we zoom out, we look at this. What does it look like? Pretty straightforward. This is just a range, right? So price continues to oscillate here near that near-term range volume point of control. That's the yellow line across the chart there. 17,535 is going to be an important reference point on NQ. Action has definitely been better in ES so far this week. We'll have to see if that theme continues. It may or may not, with AMD, Google, and I believe Microsoft reporting after the close. So we do have some pretty heavy hitters reporting after the close. Those will be on watch tomorrow as well. AMD, take a look at this chart. Well into all-time highs here. So I want to see how this reacts to earnings. Will be a post-earnings watch, see if there's a gap or not. Same thing with Google. Google, are we at all-time highs here as well? Yep, Google at all-time highs as well. And then we had Softy, Microsoft zooming way out, well into all-time highs. So we'll see if these offer any type of gap, any type of setup based on the reaction to earnings, and then take it from there. We also had SBUX. Post-earnings watch is testing support. Recent action looks pretty bearish. Let's see how price trades versus support, and then if there's any gap following earnings. And then the other two were with today's list. PDD, phenomenal setup today. The call was to watch for weakness below 128.3. Look at the high of day right there. 128.46. So a phenomenal short opportunity in PDD. There's a textbook second day trade. If you trade individual names, you want to be studying this one. This one was phenomenal. Like I said, a textbook move in the PDD. So looking for a continuation there. And then we also have GM as the second day trade. So not much action here. Be looking to trade versus that first day volume point of control. We'll see how that one shakes out tomorrow. Revisiting the index, inside day on ES, looking for that break. And then NQ, I don't know if I finished the recap on this, but essentially what we're trading here is a near-term range. We want to see how price responds tomorrow versus this 17,540 area. Near-term range, volume point of control will be the main reference point for tomorrow's session. If responsive buyers continue to step in versus this area, where do we go? Well, near-term range high right through here. Now, I expect NQ to be pretty active after hours today with Google, Microsoft, and AMD reporting. So something you want to keep an eye on during the after hours session as well, depending on how price reacts to those mega cap earnings. Hope everyone had a great sesh. It was expected to be a slower session today. So anytime we're expecting those slower sessions, you want to be playing defense. You want to be more cautious. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out via direct message in the Traders Think Tank. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. And don't forget, do not gamble through earnings. See you tomorrow.